Eric?
And for more on this, let's bring in Nile Gardiner. He's director of the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom at the Heritage Foundation. So Nile, troops will stay until ISIS is wiped out in Syria and the Kurds are protected from Turkey. Your reaction?
Well, hello there, Eric, and Happy New Year to you. And I have to say that I think that John Bolton's remarks are extremely welcome remarks. They provide an important clarification, I think, of the administration's position on Syria after several weeks of confusion, which has certainly unnerved US allies in the Middle East. And so I think that this new approach by the administration, clearly rethinking the statements made by the president a few weeks ago, this is the right approach and the right message to be sending to America's allies and partners. It's vitally important, I think, that before there is any withdrawal of US forces from Syria, that ISIS is emphatically crushed and defeated in the country. ISIS still remains a threat with around 2,000 fighters in Syria, but also tens of thousands of ISIS fighters lying low, especially in Iraq. And so we have to eradicate this long-term threat. We also have to confront the looming Iranian menace inside Syria, and we have to, as well, look after our Syrian Kurdish allies who fought with the United States against ISIS. So it's a highly complicated picture, and I think that John Bolton certainly sent a very clear and very welcome message today, which I think should be very reassuring, actually, to America's partners at this time.
Mr. Bolton will go to Ankara tomorrow and have meetings with Erdogan's administration. Do you think that we will get assurances from Turkey that they will not attack the Kurds?
Well, certainly that is what the administration, US administration, is looking for. And I think the Turks will be open and receptive to America's recommendations here. After all, Turkey has important interests inside Syria. The United States has key strategic interests as well. It's important the United States and Turkey work together in terms of advancing common interests, especially the defeat of ISIS. So hopefully the Turks will be receptive to what John Bolton is telling them, and it would be unacceptable for the Turks to launch an offensive in northeastern Syria that would threaten the Kurds. And I think the United States is going to make that absolutely 100% clear to Turkey. And it's important that Ankara and Washington work together in terms of the broader fight against ISIS.
And what about the president's view? He complained that the generals were giving him 6 months and 6 months and 6 months, and he doesn't want a quote, endless war. Is it an endless war, or is the deployment of troops in Syria similar to us maintaining a presence in Japan or South Korea or Germany? It's an important military presence that sends a message.
It is a vitally important military presence, and I think that it's important that US forces remain in Syria as long as they are needed in order to advance and protect US interests in the region. Eventually, I would expect that there will be a withdrawal of US forces, but that withdrawal should be contingent upon conditions being met on the ground. And I think that John Bolton actually elaborated that point of view today in Jerusalem, and I think that is the right message to send, that US forces should be in place inside Syria for as long as they are needed. And right now, it is absolutely the case that US forces are needed inside Syria.
All right, now we're
absolutely vital.
Up against the clock. I apologize, but that's the message. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric.
Of course.
And just minutes.